What's good, you guys? Daniel Cruz here, back with another episode of Cook with Cruz. Got a super dope breakdown today. One being with a hook. I actually just dropped this beat a couple days ago on Friday. It's Drip Too Hard with my boy John on the hook. Beat came out super fire if you haven't heard it already. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. All the details, my thought process on everything and how it was made. And you already know the drill. Please leave a thumbs up on the video for me before we jump in. I greatly appreciate that. Also, make sure you subscribe with the notifications on so you don't miss out on these episodes every single Sunday. But without further ado, let's jump into it and see how Drip Too Hard was made. Okay, so this beat was a collab by myself and AB. Shout out to AB for the dope sample. And this time we're not doing an R&B track. This is definitely like a hard trap bounce vibe. So let's get into the sample here and we'll hear what inspired me to make the beat. So for me, when I'm hearing the sample, I'm already kind of getting the vibe and the bounce to the beat. Ideas already starting to come together. This is something I can definitely work with. It's just the main chords it's got playing that just really sets the tone for everything. So you already know we got the files, so we can really strip everything down and just make a complete song out of this. So here we go in the playlist. This is our sample right here up top. Everything else on the bottom, drums and hook and everything. So I did pitch up the sample by 100 cents, so one semitone up. So we're working with a different key now, a little bit higher. And I also slowed it down just a little bit from 134 to 132 on the tempo. So we just made very small adjustments here to the sample. But anyways, now that we have the files here, we can really strip it down and get the main elements that I want here. So let's go ahead and start here with the intro. There was a bunch of instruments. If you're looking on the left side here, there's a few of them that I just didn't put at all in the entire beat, really trying to retain the main vibe here. So for our intro, we're just working with our guitar and our main pluck, and then for some background instruments we have one of the synths, a little bit of textures and a little drum texture here. But looking in for our main pluck here, pluck low, I actually duplicated this and shot it down a whole octave, so I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between octaves throughout the beat. So for our intro, we're going to start low here, and this is what it's going to sound like. So that's going to set the tone, and then after that, we're going to shoot back up to our original octave on our pluck. I also forgot to mention one of the synth background instruments. I also shot down an octave. So being those two are kind of like our foundation of the melody here, I drop those down an octave and then we'll shoot them back up. And that's going to happen right here in the pre-hook of the beat. So if we just look into it, the only difference we have is here's our low tracks, and then here's our standard. Nothing else is really going to change here, so let's see how that transitions. So now we're in our original octave, and you can hear the higher it is, it's bringing some more energy there, and that is going to be needed for our pre-hook here. And for our pre-hook, I am going to add a little bit of drums here. Just a few things, which we'll go over right here. Here's our clap. Gonna set the rhythm. Here's our closed hat here, very open and simple. And our open hat. So we just want the bare minimum of our drums here just to get a rhythm going. That's going to lead us up to the hook. So now here's what our drums are going to sound like. So that is pretty much our pre-hook here, and as you can hear and see, we're trying to keep it really open, and that's going to lead us into the drop here. So now moving on to the hook, which is the next 4 bars right here. You can see all of our instruments are going to stay the same. And then we have one more, which is this kind of chord stab. And this is going to basically kind of accent the 2 on the beat, essentially, layer with our clap. So it's just going to give us a little more emphasis, I guess, here. So we were able to throw that in there and still kind of maintain the simplicity and openness of our beat here. And now for the remainder of our drums here, you already know kick and 808 is going to come in right here. And we're going to have a kick layering up with our 808. And I'm also going to add a snare fill in here. So all together, here's our drums now. So there it is, right there. Our drums are actually really simple right there. So let's hear how everything's gonna sound now in the drop. And before we play that, I do want to mention I have this kind of transition effect here I got playing pretty much every 4 bars in the drums here. So transition, just gonna add a nice little effect into our drop. Let's run it back, see how it sounds. So there it goes right there. That's pretty much pre-hook and the hook for the beat. As you can hear, our drums aren't too crazy there. Really wanted to keep it open. So now for the actual hook and John's part. This was after I got done making the beat. As I was bouncing it out, I really heard him being like on a hook for this beat. So I hit him up, I sent him the beat, see if we can knock out a hook, and apparently he was vibing with it. He sent me back a hook like 10 minutes later, literally. So it ended up working out pretty dope there. So what I'll do, I'll go ahead and run it back with his hook on the beat, and then I'll continue on and break down the verses here.
Been the flights in a room. Gotta know that from the jump. I be dripping since the womb. Yeah. When they be talking, I know I'm the news. Yeah. What you want, I got it. Yeah. You don't wanna get me started. Gotta be pushed to start it. Yeah. Drip too hard, I'm sliding. Diamonds ain't on me, just shining. I got hoes, drip too hard, they calling. You know I got it. Head to the toes. Yeah. Drip too hard, I'm frozen.
So there goes a hook. Again, he knocked that out super fast. I don't know. We've done hooks in the past, and I just finished this beat and was like, yo, I need to hit John. Like, this sounds like his vibe. And sure enough, it was. So it came out pretty dope. But now, going into the verses, let's see what we did there. So coming into the first section, first 4 bars of our verse, we're going to shoot back down an octave on our main instruments here, the pluck and our little synth pad, and our guitar little pluck lead's gonna come out as well, of course, as you know, our chord stabs. And then our drums gonna thin out a bit too. I just leave the 808, the kick comes out, and then I do add a new element to the drums actually right here, this kind of percussive hat loop. Just sounds pretty dope with everything. You see I cut little parts of it out too, but that's just gonna vibe well with our drums and everything here. So now let's go ahead and take a listen how we're gonna transition into the beginning of our verse here.
Head to the toes, drip too hard, I'm frozen.
So there's the start of our verse, and it's just a matter of kind of just bouncing instruments around and filling in the drums, taking stuff out to kind of structure out a full verse here. So as you can see, our low octaves are going to come out, our regular octaves come in right here. Bring in our guitar again, kick comes back in, and we're going to cut a little bit out of our percussive hat loop here just to give us a little bit of a breather and then kind of jump back into it. And then for the final 12 or bars 8 through 12 of the verse here, more switch up, going back down an octave one more time, and then our drums are pretty much going to stay the same. Kicks gonna stay in this time, 808, all the hats and everything. And this is going to be nice because being that the main instruments here are on a lower octave, it's going to transition well back into our pre-hook where the instruments come back up. So there it is right there. That pretty much completes our verse. And then you already know we're going to jump right back into the pre-hook and the hook. Rinse, repeat into the second verse.
Been flights in a room. Gotta know that from the jump. I be dripping system womb. Yeah. When they be talking, I know I'm the news. What you want, I got it. Yeah. You don't wanna get me started. Gotta be pushed to start it. Yeah. Drip too hard, I'm sliding. Diamonds ain't on me, just shining. I got hoes, drip too hard, they calling. You know I got it, head to the toes. Drip too hard, I'm frozen.
So there it is right there. That's pretty much the entire beat, Drip Too Hard, broken down in detail, my thought process on everything and how it's put together. So if this was your first time hearing the beats, let me know what you think in the comments below. Just released on Friday, so that should be like the first video on my channel. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and while you're down there, if there's any beats in mind you want to see broken down, hit me up in the comments. 100% make an episode on that, showing you my thought process, details, everything I did on the beat. So yeah, there it is, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Leave a like, leave a subscribe. I'll be back next Sunday. That is all for me today. See you guys next week. I'm out. Peace.